Hey everybody, it's here Patsy, and today I'm going to do a reading from Linda Goodman's Love Signs, and this is a book of New Approaches to the Human Heart. That's the title of it, A New Approach to the Human Heart. And so what I've been doing is reading different configurations of couples, starting with the masculine energy, the man, and followed with the feminine energy, the woman. So if you represent the masculine energy, then you would read, when I'm reading for a man, that would be you. If you represent a feminine energy, when I'm reading for the woman, that would be you. But this is just really old. I've had this book for a long time. It's got a lot of combinations in it, and so I'm not going to be doing all of them, but I will do them as people ask. And so someone asked for a Gemini man and a Scorpio woman. So whenever you come across this is a timeless reading. It's just information. These are the words of the author, Linda Goodman, and let's see how it goes. Okay, Gemini man and a Scorpio woman. A Gemini man possesses the unusual and uncommonly appealing quality of seeming to remain eternally youthful. Not rare, I suppose, for one who is reborn each day, but rare enough to attract a normally self-contained and cautious Scorpio female into wondering what makes him move with such multiple colors of the mood spectrum, what makes him shine with all these different colors. Now, when a Scorpio girl starts to wonder, there's no stopping her until she's satisfied her wondering with a complete knowledge, a complete knowing. That means coming closer to him, and closer, and closer, until she suddenly looks around with alarm. Unexpectedly, she's standing between two people. She's standing between two people, one on either side of her, as different as night and day. Which one is the man she was pursuing closer and closer? They're both the same man. A Gemini male is victim of the twin syndrome, or maybe she didn't know, but maybe she did. Whatever or whichever, it will upset and topple her natural, cool, poised, I can handle anything at all, auric protection. Can she handle this? Can she cope with this introverted and extroverted person? This full of gladness, filled with sadness little boy. This coldly cruel yet sensitive and tender man. He's a maze of non sequiturs and contradictions, denials and affirmations. Never mind. She can cope. She's a Scorpio. She can handle it, solve it, beat it, win it, conquer it. The seemingly impossible situation. But can she? I'm not sure. But she's sure. The Gemini man doesn't really care if she does or not. The very thought that this lovely, intense, yet poised and womanly creature of depth and mystery is willing to try is excellent excitement enough for him. And he starts whistling a brand new tune and making a dazzling wish on the first star that he sees. So he's not daring her to understand him. He's putting his faith in the fact that she even wants to. To guess the outcome is far more thrilling to him than to know the outcome. For a Gemini to know removes all reason for existing. With her, not to know removes all reason for existing. Ah, yes. To paraphrase a poor, tortured Hamlet, to know or not to know, that is the question. This is surely and positively the question between these two at all times, the question which must be answered finally before there is any kind of hope of a lasting mutual happiness. So the question is to know or not know. That's the question. A Gemini man enjoys the titillation of choosing which of several women to prefer and is shocked when one of his harmless, petty larks turns out to be an eagle, especially if she turns out to be a Scorpio eagle. The eagle is a monogamous creature in nature. So are most human Scorpio eagles by nature. Not all, just most. When you're dealing with sun signs instead of with the entire horoscope, we have to consider the averages and overall percentages. So at this point, it is good to know your birth chart so that you can know where your planets are. And I will put a link to a free birth chart in the description box below. But things that are really about your emotions usually are, you might get more information about that if you compare your moon sign to your person's moon sign, because moon is our emotions, okay? So I'll leave that in the description box and in the comment section. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel, all right? Share it with your partner. He or she may recognize themselves in some of these descriptions. Venus is the planet of love, and Geminis are ruled by the planet Mercury, whose influence over Venus in the nativity causes the emotions to be dispersed and frivolous. So if they have Mercury over their Venus in their birth chart, their nativity chart, their emotions will be dispersed all over the place and frivolous. Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, and this planet's effect on Venus is to make her influence deeply serious and powerful, but secret and hidden. You will notice the obvious differences in this treatment of Venus, goddess of love. Venus notices it too and has become baffled when these two vibrationary forces of Mercury and Pluto mix their rays. The Gemini man and Scorpio woman may not notice it right away, so busy are they being fascinated by each other's strangeness. One thing he will definitely find strange about her is the strongly embedded Pluto form of jealousy. Scorpio jealousy is sometimes a passion even more consuming than the love which gave birth to it. Gemini finds all forms of jealousy difficult to fathom. He is, of course, duly susceptible to the normal small tugs of fear regarding the danger of losing his woman to another, like any average man, but the kind of overwhelming sea storms thundered by a Scorpio woman who feels threatened are incomprehensible to him. When this woman has been hurt or even suspicious that she might be hurt, her Scorpio stinger can strike a deadly blow to the ego of the Gemini man who is innocent of the accusations made against him, or guilty as charged. Either way, most Pluto-ruled women find revenge sweet indeed. Therefore, if she's deceived or even suspects that she has been, the retaliation will be swift and cruel, even vindictive, if her sun sign was afflicted by major planets at her birth. Knowing this, the Gemini man, whose nature cannot help being slightly flighty and fickle should realize just what he could be facing should he make the mistake of attempting a light romance with such a girl, to whom there is no such thing as a light romance, only an all consuming and everlasting passion. Other than an Aries female, no one can be as jealous as a Scorpion. And Aries has not the same compulsion to get even with the lover or husband as does Scorpio, Taurus, and Cancer. Hmm. Hold it. Other than an Aries female, no one can be as jealous as a Scorpion. But Aries has not the same compulsions to get even with the lover or husband as does Scorpio. Taurus and Cancer jealous? No. The word with those sun signs is possessive. They cry a lot and hurt inside deeply, but they cause violent scenes infrequently. Possessive and jealous are not the same. A man who has ever loved a Scorpio woman will be well aware of the difference. So Tauruses and Cancers are more possessive. Um, Aries and Scorpio are jealous. And Scorpio is jealous and vindictive. Sorry. Or you're welcome. This is a 6-8 sun sign pattern, Scorpio being the sixth house to Gemini, and Gemini being the eighth house to Scorpio. So there will be a markedly noticeable amount of service and unselfish devotion to duty in this relationship, plus a strong sexual magnetism, felt only when the two people involved are lovers or mates. When this relationship involves relatives, friends, or business associates, different eighth house matters other than sex will be emphasized between them. The service will usually be offered from Scorpio to Gemini. So that means that the woman is going to be more aggressive, maybe? But the woman is a Scorpio, right? The sexual vibration is the attraction that Gemini has for Scorpio. Yet, oddly, the very last quality the typical Gemini has to offer is sexuality. Sex isn't an all consuming interest to this man, unless it's accompanied by poetry, experimentation, far out ideals, charms, intricate games of mental chess and checkers. He may exude tons of handsomeness and charm and masculinity, intelligence and romance, but he does not ordinarily exude excessive sexuality, not to anyone but to the Scorpio. Therefore, it seems strange that she should even find him physically irresistible, and often he finds her the same way, although that's not hard to understand. Perhaps it's his elusive air of boyishness, the myriad tricks of his mirror images changing from one mood into another right before her eyes that makes her so determined to penetrate into the core of his heart and soul through their sexual union. He seems to hold a secret ever so lightly, yet nonetheless a secret, an unsolved secret or a mystery which defies solution that beckons to Scorpio as a flame entices a moth. She must know him, truly, really know him, to satisfy her mind and fulfill her heart. Consequently, the physical expression of their love will magnetize her, sometimes for many years, until she finally realizes that no one will ever know all the facets of this man. not even a Scorpio. About the same time, he will realize that he could never play his favorite game of guess who and guess what I am with her. She won't discover every sliver of his private dreams, but she will unravel enough threads of this man's fabric to frighten him into feeling that he is slowly but surely being known more than he cares to be. And so their physical blending, although it may begin as a compelling part of their love, will grow from cool to cold and at last be the undoing of their romance, unless they're willing to honestly face the things that trouble both of them, to truly communicate. Yet, she should not try to overanalyze that relationship. He may tend to criticize and analyze her since she's so full of silent intrigue and certainly not shallow. Yet, in doing so, he may be floating in deeper water than he suspects. Scorpio does not take kindly to analysis, and the insistent questioning of the curious Gemini can cause her to retreat in sullen anger or to lash out with a violent emotional response. Personal privacy is sacred to her, as it is to him, but perhaps more so. The two of them should recognize this in one another and not insist upon exploring the things that they find puzzling about each other without the resentment between them. The two of them should recognize this in one another and not insist upon exploring the things that they find puzzling about each other until the resentment between them grows into a high, thick wall. So let it be. When you feel you're getting resistance from one another about your mysteries, secrets, whatever, just let it be. Sometimes the only thing they don't try in attempting to scale the wall that separates them is to allow a little more space between their hearts so love can breathe free. He's willing, but she may fear a new and unaccustomed space between herself and her mate, as she would fear a dark and unknown abyss stretching ahead. Space is made up of air, essentially, and since he's of the air element, he feels more at home when there's plenty of space around him. But she is of the water element, and she must be surrounded with a flowing stream of togetherness or she'll be unable to breathe herself. So she needs to be enclosed, she needs to be around family and friends and together. She needs that in order to breathe. She needs that emotions in order to breathe. It's always sad when the Gemini man and the Scorpio woman who once loved find that they've lost the way to happiness because he believes in things unseen, all magic and wonder, despite his computer-like mental equipment. So does she. She believes in even stranger and more wondrous unseen worlds than he. But the secretive, inexplicable forces of Pluto silence her and seal her lips and heart and forbid her to speak of them as openly as he does. She will never be able to express her deepest dreams with such facility as the glib Gemini. And herein lies the sadness. If only he would not be so impatient with her intense passions, her emotional depths. If only she could find a way to whisper in his wandering spirit that she too longs to solve all the mysteries that lie out there among the stars and the comets, that she too yearns to breathe free, to race the wind, and to search for childhood miracles half forgotten, yet also half remembered. Cool night air is infinitely more refreshing than the musty darkness of the damp caves of worry, where scorpions are commanded by Pluto to move about when they are troubled. She'd rather have a free heart than to worry. Too often, this man and woman reach out to each other, not quite touching. They call to one another, but he hears only the music of the spring breeze, and she hears only the sound of waves lashing the shore. If they would stop long enough to hear one another's secret cries, they might soar high enough together to see everything from a different perspective, including their relationship. Their ruling planets can help them if they listen. After all, Mercury and Pluto, along with Uranus, are the ones who taught Merlin all he knew, and also secretly guided Arian Houdini. Surely they can teach Gemini and Scorpio to mix a little white witch's brew of happiness. When your astral guardians are a couple of magicians like those, you should be able to detect illusion from reality or discover that the two are interchangeable, whichever. Well, magic and magic, magic and mystery. Just let the magic happen. So, thank you so much for allowing me to share this with you. It's not actually a tarot reading, but maybe it'll help us love one another better, huh? So, thank you. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. Make sure that you get the notification whenever I upload another one. And if you have one that you'd like me to do particularly, leave a comment and I'll get to it. Peace.